sweetness to naps that I just feel so honored to be a part of that. So thanks everyone for coming. So today we're talking about playing big, not playing small. We can do that very easily. But it's about playing in a bigger playing field with our business and our lives. So I'm going to go over today a few things about goal setting, and I want to say that those of you who have worked with me know that I tend to work outside of the box. This is a non-traditional business that we own, right? It's very different from mainstream businesses like a restaurant or something else. But pet sitting is very non-traditional, and so in my opinion, it requires non-traditional methods to succeed. And that's what I've done in my own business, and that's what I've helped others do in their business. So this is a non-traditional talk. I just want to let you know that. It's not going to be your standard how to set goals. You write them down, you create them. It's really about opening up to a new realm of possibility. So I'm going to go over effective goal setting, what makes goals effective, shifting limiting beliefs, which is where everything changes, when you can really look at what beliefs are holding you back from what you want to create in your business and your life. And then creating new paradigms, which really is when you step into a new possibility. And I'm going to go over SMART goals, which some of you may or may not know about. And I want to say I'm in my socks. I'm not wearing shoes. I tried to walk in this, and I almost fell on my butt. And I don't want that appearing on YouTube anywhere. So rather than, have that possibility, I decided to just wear socks. So I'm glad I'm wearing black socks, and they don't have holes in them. That's good. Okay, so a lot of people look at my life and what I've created in my own business. I've owned my pet sitting business for 16 years. I have many staff members. We do really well financially. And I work 3 days a week in my pet sitting business. And last year I took 7 months or 8 months off, and I traveled for 7 months to India and Bali while my business ran. And a lot of people look at my life and they say, Kristin, you have such an extraordinary life. And you are extraordinary, like they declare that. And I would love for people to think that, that I'm extraordinary. My ego really likes that. But it's not about that. We're all ordinary in our uniqueness. And when we set powerful goals, it creates the extraordinary. So it's not about being an extraordinary person. It's really, in my opinion, it's about setting extraordinary goals and thus achieving them and then creating an extraordinary life. So I spent a lot of the first few years in business being successful by accident and not on purpose. I was able to create a somewhat successful business in the beginning of my pet sitting career through word of mouth, and the local paper did an article on me, and it appeared in the front page of the business section on a Sunday. And that was a year into my business, and that's when newspapers were big, right? That's where people got their media and their information, and it makes me feel really old, actually, saying that. But within 24 hours of that article appearing, and that was year one of my business, okay? It happened a year into my business. I had 40 calls within 24 hours, 40 new clients, and I had to hire, and it just created a lot of success pretty quickly. And I grew to think that I could just create success. Didn't really have to do much. It would just happen. But then 9/11 happened. And my business just really plummeted. For those of you who have been pet sitting for a while, you know that the travel industry really took a dive. And it was really a painful time in my business and my life. And I had to learn how to be successful on purpose instead of just waiting for success to happen to me. So successful goal setting, it starts with a simple question, which is sometimes a really hard question for us to answer. What do I want? What do I want in my business? What do I want in my life? It's amazing how hard that is. And it can be a lot easier when it has to do with possessions, but it can be really challenging when we're looking at those non-tangible things like happiness and peace and balance, right? Creating that balance between work and life. So I have some pictures, some images of some tangible things that you could create, like creating a successful dog walking business, a house in Italy, vacationing in Italy, horses. And those are great things to want, but it's like really when you get to the heart of the matter, what do you want? And I was in Bali last year, like I said, and I was there for 6 months and in India for 1 month. And the question that kept emerging when I was in Bali is, are you living your life from your heart? And what does your heart say about that? Bali is a very heart-centered culture. And when I came back, I've really taken that on. I've taken it to heart, you know? And so a good way to kind of explore this question is to ask your heart, what do you want? And one way that I've done that is to do journal writing, to inquire, to write, hey heart, what do you want? And have the heart respond. See what comes up. That's one way to do it. Another way is to have a friend say, what do you want? And just say what you want, and then have them ask again, what do you want? And just to keep asking until nothing more emerges in that moment. That's one way to do it. So, one of the things that we do as humans, and especially in America, is we're like going a million miles an hour, right? Everybody's so stressed. And how that affects goals is that we don't acknowledge what we've created in our life. We're just moving on to the next thing. We're not present with the gifts that we've created in this last year. So I invite you to really look at what you created in 2011. And you can do that by writing it down. And the big things, the little things, write down everything that you've created in the last year. What happens is it gives us a sense of confidence to move forward into the future and to set goals. Again, goals that are really in alignment with who we are. And it also creates this refueling process. So instead of like going, we're with what we've created. And it can be really uncomfortable to just sit and just be with what we've created. You know, there's such a high of like going after for what we want, but there's also a high in just being with what has been created. So I really invite you to do that, to write down what you've created in 2011 and share it with someone. So also, what is a great idea when you're looking at the last year and stepping into your new year is to look at the disappointments. And those aren't fun to look at. I don't really like looking at them. My coaching clients don't like looking at them. It's not a fun exercise, okay? Just know that. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Because there really is gold in those disappointments if we can harvest it. And we as humans often learn more easily for some reason through pain than through joy. So that's where you can begin to harvest the gold. And really it's about learning valuable lessons about your strengths and opportunities for growth. So the strengths come through looking at your successes. You can see where your strengths are. And the disappointments are about opportunities for growth. And I just love that expression, opportunities for growth. It's so much easier to relate to than disappointments, you know, because it really is an opportunity to get bigger. It's important to use your lessons as guidelines for the future. So what you do is you can create a guideline from your successes, from your disappointments. And basically a guideline is just advice that leads you to your future in a positive, powerful way. Powerful guidelines read as a piece of instruction. So I looked at my own successes and disappointments of 2011, and one of my biggest successes was that amazing trip that I took. While my business hummed along, barely got a call or an email from my managers. It was amazing. So Lead an Amazing Life came from that, because last year I led an amazing life, and I continue to do that. And that comes fairly easily for me because I'm playing big. Now, we come to the disappointments, which again aren't so fun, and I didn't really want to put these on here, but I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to ask of you to do anything that I'm not going to do myself. So here they are, 2 of my disappointments. I had a few, these are 2. I also had a lot of successes, that was 1. So be responsible for the quality of relationships, and that came as a result of being on my trip. And, you know, I had this expectation that my friends and family would connect with me more via email, and they didn't. And I wasn't responsible for that. I didn't say, hey, I'd love for you to connect with me more. They thought I was so busy, and I was doing other things. So when I came back, I realized I had some disappointment around that. And I talked to a few of my family members and friends, and they were like, why didn't you contact us? You know, we thought you were having such a great... And it's not that they didn't, they did. But it wasn't to my expectation of how many times. So it's important for me, Kristin, to be responsible for the quality of my relationships. And it's also important for me to be responsible for the quality of my life and my business. And there's this teeny part in me, it's gotten a lot smaller through the years, thank God, but that can swing into that victim place. If something doesn't go my way, it can kind of go, whoop, and I'm not responsible. Suddenly I'm paralyzed, and I'm not taking responsibility and an action for the areas that I really want to achieve.